Every day, we're here for you. We get things off the ground, keeping you connected. We're here keeping you safe and secure. We keep things running smoothly and know the importance of giving back. Every day, we're here. ARA. Here for you. Here for good.
Welcome to Everyday Greatness and thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Barnaby Howarth. We're coming to you from Sydney Swans headquarters in Moore Park, and today I'm sitting down with two people who are just flat out making the world a better place. Co-founder and managing director of the ARA Group, Ed Federman, and Sydney Swans legend, co-founder and managing director of ARA Indigenous Services, Michael O'Loughlin. Ed and Mickey, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Barnaby. Thanks for having us.
No problem. Ed and Mick, along with the ARA Group and the Sydney Swans, have helped to create the ARA First Nations Foundation, an AFL program that helps Australian Indigenous kids not only learn how to kick a footy and take a mark, but also teach them about their culture and their history and make them proud of being an Aboriginal Australian. And they might just uncover the next Adam Goodes, Michael O'Loughlin, or Ebony Abbott McCormick. Before I get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet today, the Gadigal and Bidjigal people of the ARA Nation. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. One of the proudest things I can say about myself is that I am Australian. So this acknowledgement comes from my heart. I want to sincerely thank our Indigenous brothers and sisters for sharing their land with us. When I played some footy at the Swans in the late 90s, there were some sensational Indigenous footballers already at the club. Adam Goodes, Michael O'Loughlin, Robbie Armat, Troy Cook and Freddie Campbell. But I could never understand as an ignorant young white kid why there seemed to be so much meaning behind it when they called each other brother or cuz. But as a 44-year-old Australian man, I can now completely understand. Being a part of an Indigenous family is one of the biggest compliments you could pay somebody. It's not just a title and a bloodline. It's an honour and a privilege and a responsibility. When Adam Goodes first arrived at the Swans, he didn't know what it meant to be an Aboriginal Australian. But luckily for him, proud Indigenous man Michael O'Loughlin had been at the club for a few years, and he took Adam under his wing and taught him everything he needed to know about being an Aboriginal man. And understanding who he was helped Adam flourish, and he became one of the greatest AFL footballers of all time. And the ARA First Nations Foundation is trying to recreate that atmosphere that helped Adam flourish. So I'd like to speak to Edward Federman and Michael O'Loughlin about how the foundation works. We'll start off by finding a little bit about what the foundation does. Mickey O, can you please tell us what kids can expect when they sign up for the foundation?
First of all, thank you for that acknowledgement. As a proud Narungga, Nurrinja and Kaurna man all the way from South Australia, and I've been living on Bidjigal and Gadigal country now for 30 years. That's how bloody old I'm getting, Ed and Barnaby. Jeez. But thank you for that acknowledgement. And yes, you are going back a long, long time since I walked through the doors as a 17-year-old. I'm now a very proud part owner of my business and my business partners here, Ed Federman from the ARA Group. Together we've built this, the ARA Indigenous Services business into truly one of the most meaningful and I guess a profitable business. We'll always want to make it profitable, Ed, but we're doing some unbelievable things within the community. And obviously someone who's played football here at the Sydney Swans Footy Club for a long time, and now board member, my heart's here. It's been an incredible journey for those 30-odd years. And together with Ed and the Sydney Swans Footy Club and their Indigenous engagement manager, Jared Hodges, we put the First Nations Academy together. And I guess, as a business owner, you're pretty busy. And I guess the opportunity came across through Jared to be a part of the First Nations Academy. The first person I went to was my great mate, Ed Federman. I didn't really understand what the academy was trying to do, and I'm still finding out bits and pieces now. But I've got a grasp around the healthy lifestyles of our people and making sure that they have a really safe environment. And and even more so digging deeper around our mental health and making sure that we are strong and resilient. And Jared's doing an incredible job, and we might have to get him on the podcast one day, Barnaby, because he has done an immense job of obviously connecting with communities, connecting with our kids, but also having the programs in place. And those programs range from, bringing them down from wherever they are from in their communities to Sydney, experience the city life a little bit, but also they have workshops around mental health, healthy lifestyles, making sure that they're eating the right foods and learning all about the different types of sugars there are out there. So it's a really simple program, but it's a really important program. And it's just another avenue where we can showcase really strong, good role models for our people to be able to keep on seeing a business owner like myself who used to play football a long, long time ago, but now as a business owner, how important education is as well. So it's very multifaceted. Like there's so many bits and pieces to the program, and we, I guess probably the stage now is around showcasing that and telling our story around what we're actually doing. So, but as I said, the first person I went to with support and help, and certainly the resources and funding, was my great mate Ed Fetterman, who's obviously one of Australia's best businessmen. So I've learned a hell of a lot over the journey being a business partner with Ed. And yeah, we do what we can when we can.
Very good to hear. So let's go to Ed Fetterman. Ed, why did the ARA group think it was important to get involved in the ARA First Nations Foundation?
Well, first and foremost, Mick suggested it was a good idea.
I do take a lot of crazy ideas to Ed sometimes, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but this one's a beauty.
This is a great idea. And we are very committed as a company to supporting Indigenous organizations, to reconciliation in Australia. And this is one of several initiatives we have as a company to support our Indigenous brothers and sisters. I am an Australian by adoption, and I'm grateful to the country to have adopted me, and I'm very grateful to be here. And I want our company and myself to do as much as we can to make, to do what we can to reconcile with our Indigenous men and women who were here well before we were, and it's been great to see the success of the program, and that's where it starts. Is to break the chain is to start with young people, to break the chain of where there's problems and poverty. This has been a great initiative to begin to do that.
Well, we're very proud to have you as an Australian, Ed, so thank you for being adopted. Now, the ARA group doesn't just sponsor this ARA First Nations Foundation. There's also signage on the SCG fence during games, and your logos appeared on playing guernseys. Why does the ARA choose to align itself and sponsor the Sydney Swans Football Club?
Culture is very important to me and to our company, and we try and create a really good culture. And if there's an organization that we want to learn from and to be able to and learn from a culture of success, that is the Sydney Swans organization. The people that are here, the culture of the organization, I think it helps our company to be associated with the Sydney Swans.
Very true. Now, Mickey mentioned earlier that you run a very successful business. The ARA Group are a complementary network of fully integrated infrastructure and facility services. How does sponsoring a football club, a sporting team, and this sporting program, the First Nations Foundation, help your business?
Well, supporting the First Nations Foundation, it's just about doing the right thing. We have a very active reconciliation action plan. This is part of it, but more importantly, it's the right thing to do.
Very good answer. Now, Mickey O, I have an ignorant white bloke question for you. Why is there so much meaning behind it when Indigenous people refer to each other as brother or cuz?
It's a great question. It's something that I've been doing since I could speak. we've had it's in our DNA, and it's always not mine. It's always been ours, and I think that's an unbelievable trait to have as a culture. And it was drummed into me when I was a kid, and I was very fortunate. I grew up with very strong role models with my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, and they were, my grandfather's the first Indigenous driving instructor in Australia. Put himself through TAFE. Before that, he shore sheep as a 15-year-old. So hard life. And their grandson and son, went on to kick a football, and make a career out of that. So that was a really incredible journey for my people. But as a person who was running around the SCG and the MCG, etc., playing football, my life was pretty easy, and I had these unbelievable people that always made sure I had food on the table, had plenty of love, and I had discipline. So, because you couldn't imagine it, I was a little bit of a rat bag, but not too much. But I was disciplined and taught about the culture and the history of our people in Australia. So I feel that I'm on this earth to make sure that, I guess, how do I say it? It's around making sure that I'm sharing our culture. We think it's a beautiful culture in our DNA, which, as I said before, it's not mine. It's always been ours, and that's part of what I see in Ed and what the ARA group bring as well. We've been really successful as in business, but really important to make sure that we're connected to our community. And this is one of the best things I've done in my life. So first one was jumping on that plane to come to Sydney, tick. Second one was the Go Foundation with Adam Goods. And, the third one was meeting Ed Fetterman. It truly has been a very humbling and incredible journey, one that I thank my lucky stars for. But part of that obligation when you're successful is to pass back and help others. And I think seeing how Ed does that in the community and has done for his whole, I guess, life is, it's inspirational. Something when you see it. You don't have to do anything. Ed could go and buy a jet and fly to the NBA finals tomorrow, Ed, but he doesn't, because there are things that he wants to do and give back. And, as a business owner who's learning the ropes, to see that in real time with my own eyes is very humbling.
Well, you're much too kind to me, Mick, but the feeling is quite mutual. Mm-hmm. Working with you and being your business partner has been life-changing for me as well. But I do have a very strong belief that a company does better if it participates in its community and gives back to its communities where we live and work. I think that's a very important part of having a business and being a business.
And it's, I guess, and sorry to interrupt. Yeah, no. I'm not trying to take over the podcast, Barney.
Go for it, mate. It's all yours.
I have a habit of doing stuff like that, don't I, Ed? But like, we support, the ARA group. We support the AFLW team, and Ed. A big announcement with the cycling. I'll let you sort of bloke that out. But I just think Ed also personally supports the Go Foundation with both Adam and myself, and countless other organisations around the country. So he's absolutely right. If you've done well, it's really important to be connected to community, and no matter how big or the organisation might get, it's really staying connected. And I think that's where a lot of big business gets it wrong sometimes. You sort of outgrow things and you move on. But I'm really happy with what our group has been doing, and I've been with the group now for close to 10 years. Yep. So, yeah, we're very proud of what we do, Barnaby.
It's a very good answer. I've been watching ARA group from afar, from a third-party point of view, and I'm proud of what you guys are doing. So now, do you want us to cut for 5 minutes so you guys can have this mutual appreciation society and give each other a hug for a while?
We're thinking about rebranding, starting our own podcast, but no, we won't compete. We'll let you do your job.
Righto. Let me ask you about Adam Goods. When he first came to the Swans and had no idea what it meant to be an Aboriginal Australian, why did you think it was so important to take him under your wing?
I think again, saw him as my little brother. And technically speaking, Adam's born in Wallaroo in South Australia, and he's actually my uncle, but there's no way I'm calling Adam Goods uncle. I'm older than him, and I just had this really special connection as soon as I saw the kid walk through the door. He was 17 with a full beard and a sort of mop top, and he had no idea about becoming a professional football player, and I'd been here for about 3 or 4 years. So it was my job to take him under the wing and just show him how you become a professional football player. These are the things around preparation, how you sort of you prepare for games and training, the right foods to eat and bits and pieces like that. So, but Adam is a very, very smart man, and he picks up things up really, really quickly. And around his Aboriginality, that was more around the unfortunate circumstances that his mother faced around stolen generation. Now, she didn't know her brothers and sisters, and I think in the Goods family from his mum's side, she had something like 11 brothers and sisters that she had never met. She was taken away at a very young age, and a very, very sad story. So Adam, unfortunately, had moved from town to town to town to town, and he didn't have no idea about his Aboriginality, wanted to find out more about it. I could give him only bits and pieces of snippets of it, and then introduce him to family and other people. And I guess he couldn't believe that he was related to nearly every Aboriginal person in South Australia when we made the introductions, when the Swans would play the Crows or the Power, we would obviously all the family would turn out for the game. So that introduction was really fun and great for Adam. And the great thing about Adam, though, is the work rate that he displays as a football person, a player, ex-player, he's taken that into his life as well. So to find out more about his people, he actually put himself into TAFE to learn about Aboriginal people. Now, this is the Australian of the Year, putting himself, who's the biggest advocate for Aboriginal people in the country, putting himself into TAFE to learn more about the history of our people and Australia and why things have happened. So he wanted to get an understanding of that. So an unbelievable person. He's the godfather of my kids, and we're best of mates. So to be able to do that, I just think talks volumes about Adam. And that was just one of the things that we wear that as a badge of honour. It's not a weight. It's not something that we feel a responsibility. We do that because that's what we do. As I talk about our DNA, it's not ours. It's not mine. It's ours. So, and Ed, you've met Adam a couple of times, or more than a couple of times, but that sense of, always open to learning, always open to help. They're really great traits to have as a person.
Very good to hear. And he could play football as well.
He was okay. I taught him everything he knows about that.
Of course you did. One of my favourite lines in AFL media press conferences was when you sat down with Adam and said, between us, we won 2 Brownlow medals.
Couldn't quite get there, but Adam took care of business for us. So it was
good dude, great human being.
Yeah, one of the best.
Now, speaking of great human beings, Ed, I've got a question for you. Ed, Mickey O mentioned before that the ARA group are sponsoring a cycling arm at the moment. What are you guys doing in the cycling world?
Well, we're the naming sponsor of Australian cycling, and that's been a real great honor for us to have that designation. We started sponsoring cycling a group up on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and we had some great results with some wonderful young men and women. So cycling has become a big part of the sporting activities that we sponsor.
It's a very exciting time just before the Olympics as well.
It is. The background to getting involved was I wanted to become a sponsor in the Brisbane 32 Olympics if I lived that long. But somebody suggested that why don't you become a sponsor of a second-tier sport? And that became cycling. Well, cycling is not a second-tier sport in Australia at all. And this opportunity came about, and we grabbed onto it, and it's been a great relationship.
So let me ask you about the First Nations Foundation again, Mick. Are you aiming to get the same belief in young Indigenous kids that you helped to give Adam when he arrived at the Swans? Just believing themselves and taking life on?
Look, I think certainly that we're not a sporting foundation. We're around making sure kids have healthy lifestyles, staying in school, and also a really important one is around the mental health and resilience, as I touched on earlier. And we play a little bit of football, and we might find an Adam Goods, but that's not the priority. The priority is making sure they have safe environments, and that these programs are there to help them grow and see. It's a beautiful world out there. Not all the time we have our ups and downs, and these really incredibly sad things happen within what's happening in the world. But when you meet these young people, their eyes are so wide open. They want to learn, they want to listen, they want to participate. So we're just giving it an opportunity to be to be a part of something that's bigger than their what's going on in their own communities. And as I said, as a shy young, believe it or not, Ed, I was shy.
That is hard to believe.
As a shy young 17-year-old kid who came from Salisbury North, in Adelaide, I thought I was going to work at the local Holden factory up the road. I was going to play local football because eventually, after we all left high school, all of my friends did that, and I just thought I was going to be this, this person who did exactly the same thing. So, and build Holdens and put tyres on the Holdens. That's what I thought how my life was going to look like. But someone believed in me. Someone saw something, an ability. Came here, and I was surrounded by really strong people who were resilient, professional, and took their time to show me the right way to prepare and become a professional, I guess. Getting here is 70 kilograms and then eventually working and retiring at about 95 kilograms. I'm a bit heavier now, but I didn't know any of that. And it wasn't until I was in a great environment and someone showed me how to do it the right way. And I guess that's what the Academy is. That's what the Go Foundation is. Even the Sydney Swans Academy. Just trying to make sure that, I said, we're here. We're only here for a short time on this earth, and if you make a positive impact somewhere, fantastic. And you do what you do. You look after your family, put the roof over our heads, and pay all the bills, and make sure there's food in their tummy. And then when you've got some spare time and some extra resources, you go and help others to do that. Because you know what, I've been very lucky, very, very lucky.
So I think people that have been around you, Mick, have got lucky as well. You talked about possibly working at Holden. You didn't. You came to the Sydney Swans, and they're one of the great organisations in Australian sport. Holden don't exist anymore. So
no, right? Like it's
where you go.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like all of my friends, they all work there, putting windscreen wipers on and drilling the tyres, and they made a really great honest living there. Sorry, and that was brilliant. That was great. But we didn't know what else was out there from our small neighbourhood. And I got on a plane, I was absolutely petrified and scared. I was just all these emotions. Jumped off a plane, I saw all these buildings and people just in a rush to go to a place. I could not believe. I rang my mum that day and I said, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. She said, no, you're not. No, you're not. So she hung the phone up on me. Could you believe it? All right. But probably the best phone call I've ever had. She told me to suck it up, son, and get on with it. And, I've been paying for it ever since. She's a beautiful old lady, tough as old boots. And, I owe everything to my mother, because without that discipline, and she saw that this opportunity probably won't last if I turned my back on it. And it was the right and correct decision.
Very correct. That's probably the only time you've ever been hung up on in a conversation. That's a strong woman.
No.
So let me ask you, how did kids get involved with the ARA First Nations Foundation if they want to take part?
I think, look, Jared Hodges, who I mentioned earlier, is the Indigenous engagement manager here, has been with the Swans for a couple of years now. And when he came to an idea to me about it, I was very interested and wanted to give back. And of course, as I mentioned before, went and saw Ed, and I think this could be something that no other organisation, and certainly AFL organisation, is doing. And it's there's a lot of responsibility on Jared, but also our kids to make sure they keep on participating, keep on showing up. And I think that's a really great lesson for our life. You never know, but if you show up, you are a chance, no matter what that it might be. And we had a chance meeting before we became partners. We shook hands, and I thought we were talking about cleaning, and you said, "No, I want to buy the business, Mike." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then all of a sudden, that was an unbelievable decision to be a part of as well, and that was many years ago. So, I try not to complicate things. And then the First Nations Academy, our kids, they get online, and certainly in Aboriginal communities, we don't. Sometimes we get online and we look at, and hey, this thing's coming. Usually it's somebody we know that talked about something that they're doing. And then the next question is, oh, you should participate. So I love calling it the black grapevine. It just goes down the vine, and all of a sudden someone's talking about something. And, oh yeah, I think you need to talk to your mum about this. I think you'd be perfect for the academy. What academy? Oh, let me tell you about it. So Jared's the best person to talk about how you get in contact. But it's obviously you go onto the Swans website and it's there in your face. So again, the detail in it, if you just look at it for what it's worth, it's around participation, creating great environment for our young people to see strong role models, active fitness, all these things. Also, mental health is a really big one for our young people. There's so many distractions out there with social media and other things that, belief in yourself. And we also think culture makes you strong. Like, I'm so lucky that I'm a part of the Narungga Nurrinja and Kaurna Nations back in South Australia. So really amazing stories like that, but ultimately just showing up. If you show up, you're half a chance, I think.
I think that's right.
Very true. So, Ed, let me ask you, have you seen enough in the ARA First Nations Foundation that you think you'll carry on with your support of?
Oh, we definitely will continue on. Yes, it's really important to us and our goals as an organization and our work towards reconciliation. And as I said earlier, getting to younger people early in their lives is going to be the best way to make a difference.
Yeah.
As a company, our workforce is between 3 and 4% of Indigenous Australians. We're really proud of that.
Yeah, it's a great number.
And this is, associating with the program, and we, in our association with the Swans, we hope we can continue to help the young people, but also provide employment opportunities later on. And to have this association is very meaningful.
That's a great. Sorry, cutting you off again. See, it's not my podcast, is it? But that's a really great point, Ed, around the employment for it. We're lucky enough that our business is, strong and great culture that we provide a great environment within the group for people to learn a new skill.
That's right.
I mean, how many? Do you want to tell the guys who are listening and watching this? Like the group itself, we have 3,000.
It's about 3,500 employees, mostly in Australia and some in New Zealand.
Wow.
And we have a range of services. So there's a range of skills from higher end skills of engineering and financial management to enormous amount of trades opportunities from electricians to sprinkler fitters to alarm technicians to security technicians, air conditioning technicians, building and carpentry qualifications. We're a wide group with a wide range of services and a wide range of opportunities.
And it's incredible to be able to say to someone that, I guess, an entry level for us is at cleaning, like, you clean your own bedroom, you make your bed, or my kids don't, but learning how to do that as an entry level, then all of a sudden we've got numerous examples where people have started in the cleaning industry at our business at ARA.
We have a couple of great
people have gone on.
Nicole has come from a cleaner to an Indigenous engagement manager. We have a young woman in South Australia who started as a cleaner, and she's now doing a locksmith apprenticeship.
Oh, Renee, yes. Correct. Yeah. So the business it's quite amazing when we talk to our employees and our people within the business that this might be an entry point into something bigger or better. Or you just might be comfortable because, they're the hours that you can work and you're looking after your family, and you might just stay within the property services division. So it has been incredible to be able to do that.
It's been a really good journey. We've been very fortunate with a lot of great people, and it's been really good. Yeah,
sounds like it. I started this interview by saying I'm sitting down with two people who are making the world a better place, and you've both just proven it. That's sensational. Ed Fenneman, Michael O'Loughlin, thank you so much for joining me. I'd like to thank Ed's ARA group for being our major sponsor for the 7th year in a row. Thank you to the Sydney Swans for hosting us so graciously in your new headquarters. Thank you to Look Studio Australia for your technical experience and expertise. Thank you to Facet Digital for your digital marketing services. And I hope you can join us next week where we'll sit down with founder and CEO of Plated Forward, Sean Christie David. We'll be joined by the head of Swans HQ, Liz Pontica, and we'll discuss how, through the Sydney Swans and Plated Forward, we can bring Australian communities together through food. Thank you all for joining us.